Week 2 of Sunday NFL football is in the books, and you are listening to episode 9 of Birds vs. Boys. Hopefully, we can make it through this podcast without getting injured ourselves after all the damn injuries in the NFL this weekend. But as always, I am your host, the boy, KMess, and I am here with my friend who may be a little sad today, the bird, the one and only Aidan Powers.
A little sad might be the understatement of the millennium. I think it's just morbid. It is depressing. It is well beyond a little sad.
I don't even think there's going to be like yelling from you today. I think it's just going to be more.
You know what's bad sadness. When there isn't yelling, because when there's yelling, that means you care. Mm-hmm. That means you still are passionate. When you're so angry that you're beyond yelling, that is cause for concern.
When you're just exhausted.
I'm exhausted.
But before we get to the exhausted Eagles and the we're back Cowboys, we are going to go around the NFL. So like we did last week, we're going to put the clock up and we are going to go around the NFL in 60 seconds, maybe a few seconds over. I think we did it in about 90 seconds last week. Let's try. We can try and get our time down. So if Vanna Vince can get the clock on the board. Look at this. We got a 60-second clock.
Hey, baby.
We are going to go straight down the games from yesterday. So, Vince, I'll count you down. 3, 2, 1, go. Magic Mitch and the Bears win 17-13 over the hapless Giants.
49ers, did you win yesterday? Yes. What did it cost you? Everything. 49ers win 31-13 over the Jets.
Brady is back. Bucks 31, Panthers 17.
The gold standard is back in Pittsburgh. Steelers 26, Broncos 21.
Ryan, don't call me a wide receiver. Tannehill throws 4 touchdowns as the Titans take the Jags down 33-30.
Many people are saying Josh Allen has figured it out. Bills 31, Dolphins 28.
Aaron Jones goes off for the Packers 42-21 over the Lions.
There is not a more fun combo to watch right now in the NFL than Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins. Cardinals 30, Washington 15.
I will not trust Kirk Cousins again. Colts win big 28-11 over the Vikings.
Ravens go to 2-0. They win 33-16. That seat's getting real hot for Bill O'Brien.
Justin Herbert gave it the old college try, but gets his butt kirked. The champs win 23-20 in overtime over the Chargers.
Game of the weekend. 2 quarterbacks looking fantastic. Russell Wilson comes out on top. Seahawks win 35-30 over the Patriots.
I think that was pretty good.
I think we had some radio experience this week where we had to make hard cuts and so we could go to commercial. So we're getting some practice and timing.
And if you haven't listened to that, Aidan and I were on branded sports radio this week on AM 1490 Sports Betting Radio. And that will be dropping in podcast form this week. So you can check that out also on iTunes, Spotify at Branded Sports. We had a lot of fun.
Just skip past the part where I'd say that I'm confident in the Eagles and just listen to the rest of the show because it was very well done aside from that statement.
You should have just listened to Aton.
I know. He that tipped me off when he was like, everybody, isn't it funny how everyone in Philadelphia already is assuming 0-2? And I was like, wait, I'm not assuming 0-2. Should I be concerned? I should have.
You should have.
I should have.
Now, something to be very concerned about for a lot of teams in the NFL and just NFL fans, I feel like in general, were the mass amount of injuries that we saw yesterday and the mass amount of injuries to big name players on Sunday. So I'm going to run down the board right here, just rapid fire names and injuries, and then I'll have you see what you think here. So we don't need a clock or anything. Let's hope I can get through this because it's a large amount of names and injuries here. So on Sunday, the NFL has lost to injury. Saquon Barkley, ACL. Sterling Shepard, toe. Nick Bosa, ACL. Solomon Thomas, a knee. Jimmy G, ankle. Raheem Mostert, after setting a record for 23 miles an hour running, MCL sprain. Cortland Sutton, ACL, MCL. Drew Lock, shoulder. Tavon Young, he's a corner for the Ravens if you don't know him, ACL. Christian McCaffrey, ankle, 4 to 6 weeks. Malik Hooker, Achilles, done. Paris Campbell, MCL, PCL sprain. Devontae Adams, hamstring. Byron Jones, groin. Anthony Barr, shoulder. Brashad Perriman, sprained ankle. Bruce Irvin, ACL. Isaac Salamululu, knee. I mean,
yeah, that's quite a hefty list. I don't remember a list. Can you remember a list that long? No, neither can I.
Week. And half these injuries are due to the turf at MetLife Stadium. And what have I been saying on Brandon Sports Radio the last few weeks? MetLife Stadium stinks.
I am so glad that the 49ers are with us in this pursuit of change and revolution, that there is no way that in the biggest media market in the world, they have unlimited money and spent billions of dollars in that stadium, and it is a trash heap. I'm so glad that they are with us on that campaign, and I feel bad for that team. And the craziest part is they have to go back and play again next week.
And they're like, no, we're not going.
Yeah, they were like, fix that turf or we're not coming back. I don't blame them.
It is. I think I was there for the Super Bowl and the Seahawks beat up on the Broncos. And it's a big round nothing.
Yeah, it's in the middle, and it's not even in New York. It's in the Meadowlands. I know the previous stadium was too, but it's in the middle of nowhere. It's this giant cylinder. It looks like I don't even know. Just it kind of almost post-apocalyptic because it's like when nothing else is still around, that'll still be there.
Yep. And no one will want to be there.
Can I pose one question to you? One theory that I had,
please,
before we get into our games about these injuries. So, do you think we were expecting mass injuries last week just because these guys haven't played any games, no preseason, no offseason? Do you think that playing one game after that huge break and then your body having to recover from that game and then play another one, that's really what set it off? You think?
I could see that for sure. I mean, what was it? I think it was Ben Roethlisberger last week said he felt like he was in like 4 car accidents after the game.
Well, that's different because that's Ben Roethlisberger.
True.
No matter what.
I mean, yeah, these guys basically had almost of a nothing off season. You know, they had no preseason games, which I know a lot of guys don't play in them anyway. But I feel like they didn't even have the practices where it was intra squad where they're actually really hitting. So. I mean, they've kind of went from the quarantine couch to like a walk through camp into all or nothing. So
yeah. No OTAs, no preseason games. You come in, you play a game, then you have to kind of get back on that horse and do it again. And I think doing it again, you didn't have enough time to heal. I think that's what really did them in.
Yeah, it is a shame. We don't want to spend the entire show because we have a lot to talk about with the Eagles and Cowboys, but we just wanted to list the amount of injuries, the amount of big name injuries, and the amount of guys that are done for the year. I mean, Nick Bosa defensive rookie of the year last year, gone.
49ers in general. Well, first of all, Saquon is probably one of my favorite non-Eagles players. So to see him go down, that sucks. 49ers though, doesn't that sum up the MLB? It does. Know, like you get to the Super Bowl one year and then all of a sudden and everything goes your way that year. Yep. And then the following year, everything goes wrong. That kind of sums up the NFL experience.
That is football. That is football. And I mean, I feel so bad for Saquon too. I mean, the Giants have no line. They really needed to take Quentin Nelson at number 2, but you can't take a guard at number 2, I guess. So, I mean, they should
take a running back at number 2 either, but I digress.
I would love for him to somehow campaign his way out of New York, New Jersey. But before we get into Eagles, Cowboys too, I have one little list that I just came up at the top of my head, and I wanted to see if you agree with these guys on the list. So coaches that I don't think are going to make it through the season or should not make it through the season. I have 3 definites on there with a 4th with a question mark. Adam Gase.
He should
have gone now.
Yes. Just why is it's the only question is why is he still here? What a horrible coach. He sucks. What am I missing?
We keep saying they're the most unprepared team every week.
Yeah, that was my bet this week. And the 49ers lost half their team and still covered. They won by 18.
Matt Patricia.
I think he gets one more year, but there's nothing inspiring about the Lions.
No, I don't know him. Dan Quinn.
I can't wait to torch these asshole Falcons when we get into that Cowboys game. I hate them. They are public enemy number one. I'm more mad at him and them than I am the actual Eagles. That is how much I am mad at the Falcons. Those assholes. Damn it.
Doug Peterson.
No.
I mean,
if for some reason he is not back as coach, it would be a mutual split.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we can get right into the Eagles then, since he was the last name on the list.
Perfect segue.
Yeah, there it is, dude. We've been killing it with these.
How about
these
that?
Transitions?
How about that?
To now, we're in a mid-season group. Nobody else is. Everyone else is getting injured.
Watch out, Joe.
Oh, I was not a part of that. If he were to leave, I think it would be because he wanted to go and they were ready to move on. It would be a mistake. I think there are much larger problems than him. I think he's a good enough coach to keep his job, but I guess we will see with the rest of the season.
Do you let him walk if Frank Reich calls and says, I'm leaving Indy?
No. I mean, the Frank Reich thing, let's get into it, because I'm so sick of some of this stuff. The Frank Reich thing, like, people were like, last week we lose and people are well, Doug Peterson's game plan, it was horrible. I was one of those people who did say it was horrible, but they were like, this would have never happened with Frank Reich. Did you see Frank Reich lose to the Jaguars? I just can't stand this. And the Folesian people who are rooting against Carson Wentz and just like rooting for your own team to fail just to prove that you were right. Like, you want this guy so bad and he can't even beat out Mitchell Trubisky or Gardner Minshew. And you want Jalen Hurts to start. Jalen Hurts couldn't even beat out Tua at Alabama. Alabama thought Tua was better than Jalen Hurts. Tua's not playing in Miami because they don't think he's ready. Yep. So do you think Jalen Hurts is ready? Like, do you guys use logic at all?
No, it's sports. People don't use logic.
Yeah. That's a good point. Twitter and sports. There's no logic that will need to be said.
You know, when Twitter like updates their regular and like they sign you through and you got to click like accept before you can like use Twitter anymore because they change little things. I think in there every time it says, like in the fine print on the bottom, like, you are not allowed to use logic.
You have to use hot takes only.
That's
it. You cannot be level-headed when something doesn't go your way.
If you use logic, you will be banned for 30 days from Twitter.
You are banned.
Especially in Philadelphia.
I can't take it. I'm as mad at this fan base. Like, that wasn't on my list to complain about the fan base, but I'm just like, I am exhausted. I hate this.
I can hear it in your voice.
It's so negative. I'm so tired of the negativity. And we talked about it on the radio. It just spilled over. There was no gaps between the seasons. So everything with the Sixers, it spilled over in the Phillies, and then it spilled over in the Eagles. And it's just like, we are trapped in negativity. Like, could we watch like a first quarter of a game? The Phillies, as we are recording, are losing right now 2-1. Could we just like wait until the 8th inning before we have an absolute meltdown? The sky is falling. Like, could we just relax?
Just breathe.
And I know everything that I'm about to say about the Eagles is going to contradict, but come on, just give me week 3 against the Bengals. If they lose, fine. You can pick up your pitchforks and torches and go protest in front of Novacare. I don't care.
But just like, I don't want to say enjoy the process, but enjoy the games. Ayo. I mean, like, get in the game, and you don't need to be on Reddit during the game. You don't need to be on Twitter during the game. Watch the goddamn game. Yeah.
I have my phone on Do Not Disturb. I don't even use it. I just can't. And I checked my phone. I had text. I checked my phone because my family needed something, and it was 1:21, and I had negative text about the Eagles. It's been on for 16 minutes. Just fucking relax.
Just watch. Jesus. Just watch and shut up.
I know. Take a Xanax and sit on the couch and put Red Zone on. Like, or find a new hobby if you're just gonna be miserable for 3 hours.
I mean, it was beautiful out yesterday. Just go
on a hike.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally take a hike.
Literally. And then just check on your phone and you can see that they're losing, and then you don't look anymore.
Yeah, go about your day.
Exactly.
Oh my God, I can't stand it. Now,
right.
Are we ready to get into?
I'm ready. Yes, I brought more anger into you today. I just wanted to get a little bit of emotion. You sound a little too sad.
I needed to get fired up. I needed that. Thank you.
All right, let's go.
All right. We should be concerned. We should be really concerned. The alarm should be going off, and not just like the fire alarm. We need the nuclear alarm going off. Like we might need to take a cyanide pill because the radiation is coming. We are in trouble, and there are some systemic issues that are not going to get fixed in 1 week going into a Bengals game. It's just not, and we can get into it, but there's a lot of problems. It's not good.
Does it start at the top with your QB?
I think Carson Wentz playing badly, a lot of guys in that locker room should be very relieved that he is taking all of the blame for things that are going wrong. Here's a perfect example. I have a few. I've written them all down. The defensive line, which they've invested so much money in. Think about it. Malik Jackson, Fletcher Cox, which that is my biggest alarm. Brandon Graham, Javon Hargrave, Derek Barnett. This is year 5 or year 4. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
They have 2 sacks total. They gave up 191 yards rushing yesterday. There are a lot of guys who should be so thankful that when people rip this team, they are starting with Wentz and ending with Wentz. Because I told you last week, everybody got an F. I'll give everyone a D- this week. And they improved. Congrats on moving up a letter grade to a D-.
I mean, that's progress.
They're making their way. Hey, by like week 7 when we play the Cowboys, we'll be at C+.
Yes. Great. Can't wait.
But yeah, I mean, I think when you say start at the top, here's where I'm starting. And we need to start doing this with all the sports teams in the city. The people who are making the decisions need to be held accountable. The most popular one, and everyone's talking about it because of the Sunday night game, DK Metcalf over JJ Arcega-Whiteside. Don't be mad at Carson Wentz. Don't be mad at Doug Peterson. They're not the ones making these decisions. The person who is making these decisions in the front office that are doing them need to be held accountable. But you can like stretch it so far beyond that, just that pick. Here's a trickle-down effect for you. So you take JJ Arcega-Whiteside over DK Metcalf. So now the following year, you need a receiver. And because you need a receiver, you have to take Jalen Reagor in the first round because you're so desperate you can't choose any other position.
Because CeeDee Lamb's already off the board.
And CeeDee Lamb's off the board because 16. You know who hold on. Real quick. Interruption. You know who fucked me that day too was the Falcons. Because at 16, they wouldn't trade with us. I don't know what I did to the city of Atlanta, but why do they keep fucking me over?
Yep.
Oh, God.
I thought 1,000% you guys were coming up in front of Dallas to take him, trading with Atlanta.
They tried. I remember they openly admitted that they tried. Howie said that. But that's the thing, though. Like, you're in that position, then you have to move up to get him because you didn't get Metcalf a year before. Patrick Queen's on the board, and you can't get him because you're in such a desperate shape. You have to get a receiver, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, these trickle-down decisions are screwing you over. You can't miss on drafts the way the Eagles have and sustain success. They have draft. That's why my nuclear alarm is going off.
Yep.
They're missing on drafts, and you are seeing the effects right now.
You can't miss on drafts. Like, what did we say last week too? And speaking of Patrick Queen, look at the Ravens of what they do on draft night, year in and year out. How did they get Dobbins and Queen?
I know, and Devin Duvernay in the 3rd round. They just don't stop. Because they're good talent evaluators, but it's a matter of not. It's a matter of like not outsmarting yourself. We've said it before. Just pick players who are good. And Patrick Queen, you know what? Leads them in tackles. He has 17 tackles through 2 weeks.
Unbelievable.
It's not good. And Nate Gary, I thought he played well week 1, but that was a disaster. That was an utter disaster. And here's another draft thing. I wrote this one down. They haven't selected a linebacker from 2015 to last season, to this past draft.
And
it doesn't take a football expert to see if you ignore the position for 4 years, it's obviously going to be a problem. Then you finally address it and you take Davion Taylor, who's a project who doesn't even play. Like, it's ridiculous to be in these positions. Like, what are you thinking? You're just outsmarting yourself. It's just like the alarms have got to be going off that you cannot have this decision-making process year in and year out and be a good football team. There are so many draft day question marks that you could point to and say, they screwed this up so bad. And you are really feeling the effects. The 2017 draft, they completely whiffed on everybody. They missed on an entire draft. The only remaining players that are on the team, not even unproductive, just on the team, are Derek Barnett and Nate Gary, who, if we're giving out D minuses, they might still be at F. They were so bad. They were both horrible. They're the only ones left on the team. And it's at that point, it's year 4 for them. So you'd think rookie, okay, you might contribute a little bit.
Yep.
Year 2, you want to see them make that leap. Year 3 and 4, you should be a bona fide starter. They have 2 players left from the draft. You cannot whiff like that. You just can't.
And when you miss on a draft like that completely, and now you're going to be facing cap hell next year,
yeah,
you can't. You literally cannot whiff on any drafts when you know what's looming coming up.
Well, yeah, they haven't. That is the big issue that everyone's been talking about. The core of this team that's in place is older, which makes sense. Like they were bad and they hit on drafts. Good for them. Like the Lane Johnsons
you're supposed to do.
And Fletcher Cox. Yeah, they were bad and they hit on their big picks. When they were in the top 15, they got Lane Johnson, they got Fletcher Cox, they got Carson Wentz. That was a good job. Since then, in these past few years, it has been bad. It has been really bad. They are not produced. They have. I did the math on this, and people can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm counting 4 starters in the past 3 years out of your drafts. How does that happen? 4 players. So when you have an aging core, which comprises most of your salary cap, and you don't replenish that system, like if you have a plant and you don't water it, guess what's going to happen?
It's going to die.
It's going to die. And I want to die, and here we are.
Now, I obviously didn't get to watch much of the Eagles-Rams game. I was watching the Dallas Cowboys and the loved Atlanta Falcons. So I was basically seeing stats and, seeing Jared Goff basically not missing. He started, I think, 14 for 14. But you mentioned Fletcher Cox and this deal. Was that a massive issue? Did anyone on your D-line play well? Did Sweat show up? Hargrave is his first game as an Eagle.
No,
nothing.
No. And like I keep saying, like those guys should write a thank you note and give a fruit basket to Carson Wentz for taking all of the blame. Because you cannot, if you have this podcast plugged into your earphones right now, think about it. Name one position group that played well. One guy that stuck out to you. You can't even do it. It was that bad. And that defense looked so lost. It wasn't even a talent thing. Like the Rams, and I will give the Rams credit because now both of us have played them. They look pretty damn good.
I keep saying to a lot of people, I think they were massively underrated by everyone. I mean, what were they, 9-7 last year? And that was a down year for them. And we just forgot that Sean McVay knows how to coach.
It's that they got healthier, which is a big thing. They have Jalen Ramsey for a full year. Talk about teams with salary cap issues. Like they have a very small window to make this work.
Yes.
Which is their issue. But they're making it work this year. I think part of it was, as frustrating as our defensive line play was, I think that is a very good offensive line. But
I agree.
The defense through and through looked lost. And the coaching staff, we brought up, should Doug Peterson keep his job? Jim Schwartz is another one where there's starting to be a question mark next to the name. It's not as adamant as Adam Gase, where it's just like, yes, he's doing his job. But there's starting to be a question mark. Like, here's the best example that I could come up with. Nickel Roby-Coleman played for the Rams last year. He was targeted this season 9 times and has given up 9 completions. It's like the Subway commercial. You were there every day. You go there every day. You were on the practice field. You know what they do. How could you look lost? You ran the off. You played against that offense every day. How did you look this lost? I have no idea what happened, but it wasn't even like a talent thing. They just flat out looked lost. They looked like a dumb football team.
And that just reminds me also from the week before of them going against Darby, and Darby was with them every day, and they didn't take advantage.
And they didn't take advantage of it. No. And it should also ring the alarms that Darby isn't having a bad season. Russell Douglas isn't having a bad season. LJ Fort is not having a bad season. If guys are going elsewhere and performing well, it says a lot about your team. Mm-hmm. That's what's happening. And it is. And for all those people who are rooting against Carson Wentz to fail, when he ends up in fucking Carolina and they're good and they come here and beat us by 17 because you've sold yourself on a backup college quarterback who was a gimmick player at Oklahoma, you deserve what's coming when he
Imagine Carson Wentz with DJ Moore, McCaffrey, and Matt Rule.
Yeah. Automatic winner. They'd be great. They'd be the face of the NFC South because Brady and Breeze are getting old.
I agree.
And you know what? We would deserve that. But he does have to play better. Let's get into the Cowboys here in a second. Mm-hmm. I will end it with Wentz because I can't. It would not be fair to place the blame everywhere else but him. Second half, we claw all the way back from 21-3. It's 21-16 at half. We have all the momentum. Defense comes out, gets a stop, 3 and out. We're moving the ball. 5-minute drive, and we really have the Rams on their heels. Our offensive line is moving people.
Yep.
We're running the ball well. He looks in rhythm. Throws it into double coverage to JJ fucking Arcega-Whiteside. I don't care if JJ Arcega-Whiteside is standing there wide open in the end zone. His mom has the umbrella over him, and he's waving his arms. Probably just don't throw him the ball. But those passes, I thought he played better than what people give him credit for. Oh my God, why would you? Why? Just why? I literally sat there for 5 minutes after. It just kills all the momentum. You just sit there and you go, why? Why would you do that?
Why did he do that?
I don't know. And we talked about it last week. There's just some things. It's like a 1 step forward, 2 steps back process with him at this point. Like you see great throws. He was great on that drive. I think he didn't have a single incompletion. And then he throws in the double coverage in the 21 when you're driving. I don't get it. I don't know what is wrong, but there is a lot of things wrong with that team. It is bad.
Would you say
already?
Obviously, you said most position groups went from an F to a D+ this week. And you can't D-, and you can't really think of a position group that played well. Just stats wise of me looking, not seeing the game with my eyes. I mean, I don't think they gave up a sack. Miles Sanders had 95 rush yards. Would you say the beaten, broken offensive line may have been the best position group all game?
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. Miles Sanders had 95 yards rushing, so we went over 100 yards rushing as a team. They played a lot better. Nate Herbig looked good. Lane Johnson's just a stud. It was great to have him back. They had a great game plan to get the ball out of Wentz's hands quick. I don't know why this is not the game plan every week. It does not matter if Aaron Donald is on that field or not. Get rid of the ball. Get in rhythm. We talked about him having that Klay Thompson pace where you're either going to suffer for 3 quarters where he's cold, or you can get the rhythm going. Get it going. So they did play well. I'll give them, how about this? They get straight D. Not a D+, not a D-, just D.
That's close to passing.
Yeah, well, yeah, kind of.
I mean, you get to a C-. That's okay.
I'll tell you what, they have a lot of studying to do before they can get to a C-.
Now we're not going to jump into next week in your thoughts on the Bengals yet. We'll do that on the second episode this week. Let you catch your breath and kind of compose yourself a little bit more. But it is a little sad for me to see you go from such anger last week to now just exhaustion.
Yeah. I feel like the lady at the end of that Zero Dark 30, when she finally catches Osama bin Laden and she just like sits down and she's just like exhausted. But that's how I felt after the Super Bowl, because like I accomplished my goal and then I was exhausted. This would be like if SEAL Team 6 went in and like he wasn't there and then she was just still exhausted. Like that's where I'm at.
They lost 3 SEALs and no one was there.
Yeah. Like the helicopter crashed into a wall and it wasn't even like the base where he was staying. And then she just had to go back and play the Bengals.
They're in Peru, not Pakistan. It's like, what? I don't know what happened here. But we will be joined also next episode to help Aidan break down the Eagles with John Marks, who's a Philly legend in the sports media realm. So I'm very excited for that.
I'm very excited because his co-host is Ike Reese, and Ike is the as far as Wentz supporters go, he might be the only one who tops me. So it'll be good to have his co-host and partner in crime on there. And so we'll have some questions for him. We'll get you guys arguing. And I think that'll be a great guest for what's been going on these past 2 weeks.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Football season is back, which means you should be betting with Bovada. Bovada is easy to use. It is where I placed my first ever bet. We will post our promo link everywhere we post this podcast. Come Sundays in the fall, cash in and bet with Bovada. All right, let's get into these asshole Falcons. What a bunch of assholes!
I'll let you start before I even get in. You give me your Falcons hate.
Okay, pick up the fucking ball on an onside kick. This is like so easy. I was just like, wait, what are you doing? What, like, please come get the ball.
Oh. It looked like they were like looking at a magic 8 ball and they were waiting for like the thing to come out and tell them exactly what their fortune was going to be. And then they're like, nope, it hasn't come out yet. Nope, I don't know. I lost it.
What's that one? It's like you shake it and it just says like shake again.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened.
What were they doing? Are you kidding me? You assholes. How did you find a way to lose worse than the 23 Super Bowl game? You assholes.
When I saw Greg the Leg just line the ball up with no tee just on the side, and I was like, what are we doing here?
I'm not gonna lie, I did get nervous. He like reinvented the wheel. It was like when a caveman saw fire. When I saw that ball sideways, I was like, oh, I don't know what's about to happen.
And it literally just like the ball just saw. It was like a seeing eye single in baseball. It just found its way, curved around, and they just
wanted.
It kind of was like a caveman seeing fire for the first time. The Falcons looking at the ball like,
that's exactly what it was. I feel like I was lit on fire.
All right, but I'll start in the beginning of the game. So on Saturday, again, when we were on the radio, I called that I thought Tyron Smith was going to miss this game. Mike McCarthy was saying, well, I think, he'll be okay. He's practicing. And then all of a sudden on Wednesday, he was out of practice with a neck injury. And I'm like, yep, here we go. Tyron Smith misses at least 2 games every year. No chance he's starting. And he didn't. And right before the game, they announced it again. Steele, undrafted rookie out of Texas Tech, was starting at right tackle because Lyle Collins is still on the IR because he wasn't ready to go for the beginning of the season. And then Brandon Knight, undrafted rookie who was drafted, they took last year, starting at left tackle. So I'm right there with you on the concerns of the offensive line. Like I keep saying, it's not 2016 anymore. Stop saying the Dallas Cowboys have one of the best offensive lines in the league. They do not. So that kind of put me at concern immediately. And then the game started and I was even more concerned because I blinked. The Cowboys fumbled the ball 4 times and the Falcons were up 20-0. And there was still like 4 minutes left in the first quarter.
Yeah, it was funny because so I had the stream of the Cowboys game and then I had obviously the Eagles game on the big screen. So we fumbled on our first drive to give the Rams perfect field position. And it was almost like we were mirroring each other. Like I'd turn and they'd make like a back-breaking mistake. And then I'd turn and we'd make a back-breaking mistake. I was just like, all right, the battle to 9-7 is on.
Let's go. I mean, even it was 20-0. And I just, I don't want to say I checked out, but I think I'm just like you in terms of if there's misery, I'm sticking through the misery. I'm not changing the channel. I'm there for the duration. So I just kind of grabbed another drink and I said, all right, well, it's 20-0 with 4 minutes left in the first. It's going to be a long afternoon, but we're here. And speaking of those Falcons who you hate, unbelievable stat. In the history of football, for teams that have scored 39 points and had no turnovers, we're 449-0 going into yesterday. And the Falcons blew it.
Of course they did, because of the Falcons and they're assholes.
I mean, I don't want to take credit for this win saying the Cowboys won it. I mean, the Falcons lost it, but
no, you didn't win.
The Cowboys were also a completely different team in the second half than they were in the first half. Ezekiel Elliott, I have to say, he did fumble once, but he looks completely different. He looks young again. Last year he had no pop. I thought he was turning into like CJ Anderson, and he was just going to become like a fat, he's going to run for 4 yards and then fall for the 5th yard every time he touches the ball. No juice, no wiggle. I mean, he killed a man in the end zone yesterday.
Well, he got that stomach tattoo, so he couldn't get fat or else it would look bad. So that was like motivation. So maybe that tattoo is a good thing.
And I mean, clubs were closed down thanks to COVID. So he had no clubs to go to, no bars to go to. So he was at home training.
And the borders were closed, so he couldn't go to Cabo.
Exactly.
Instead of training camp.
So I'm all for coronavirus every offseason for Zeke.
Coronavirus podcast.
Yes. Wow. Amen. But you can't, I mean, as a team, you can't expect to fumble the ball 4 times. They only lost 3. Or go down 20-0 and expect to win ball games all the time. This is not going to happen again. This is a once in a 25-year type win. So it obviously, I'm very happy. Obviously, it was kind of like the opposite of Dez caught it, where I was extremely happy and then was extremely sad. Here I was extremely sad and all of a sudden just elated because I couldn't believe my eyes of what I was witnessing. Especially they went for the 2-point conversion early in the game and they didn't get it, and then they were still down by 2 possessions and they still won the game. But I mean, I'll walk through the offense and then I'm going to go through my concerns. So obviously Dak had 450 passing yards yesterday, 3 rushing touchdowns. He looked phenomenal in his cowboy hat. CeeDee Lamb, your boy, he had 6 grabs for 106 yards, and he had one unbelievable catch where he went up and got it. And then he had basically the game sealing catch at the end. And he did get, I don't know if you saw this, his second blocking penalty of the season, because he's just headhunting out there. He's a savage.
I know. That's why I wanted him.
And I love it.
You can just tell he has that factor. But I'm sure whoever the fucking Falcons wanted at 16 wouldn't have been there at 21.
Of course not.
They screw themselves over so much that now they just screw everyone else over.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I hate them.
Mm-hmm. And then Amari Cooper also 6 for 100, and that unbelievable one-handed catch that was a complete overthrow by Dak. He saved Dak's ass, and he saved the game with that one-handed catch. The guy who completely came out of nowhere for me yesterday, and I think for everybody, was Dalton Schultz. This kid, third year as a tight end. We lost Jarwin. The house is burning down. We don't have a tight end. He was targeted 10 times yesterday. Had 9 catches for 88 and a touchdown. Like Jarwin, who? Maybe we have a tight end now.
I was. I did notice that he got a lot of targets. It was interesting. I think he did have one of the fumbles, so you got to clean that up. But I mean, Falcons let you off the hook, 4 turnovers, and they got a bunch of short fields and put up 39 and still lost because they are the worst.
Now, we won. Happy. Not 0-2. They're 1-1. Awesome. But from the beauty to now, the ugly beast is this Dallas Cowboys defense. I think Mike Nolan was available for a reason, and we're getting hoodwinked thinking that his scheme was going to come in here and do wonders. This defense it's just not good. You're complaining about the Eagles' defensive line. These hot boys, 1 sack in 2 games.
How's Clown Lawrence do?
Clown Lawrence was on and off the field. Apparently, he hurt his knee, and that's why he was limited in the game. But I feel like every time I turned around on a crucial 3rd down, Clown Lawrence was not on the field. So they're also playing Everson Griffin on the inside, almost as a D tackle, out of position. He must just be furious. He's a D end who needs to just put his hand in the dirt and go. And they're trying to play him on the inside. So Everson Griffin basically has not showed up. Last week, it was Anthony Brown who was just getting worked as a cornerback. Now he was out week 2, and Jordan Lewis, who was out week 1, stepped in And it was the same thing. Every time I saw 26, Ridley was just working them. Every time there was a third down conversion, it was Jordan Lewis. So the back end of this defense still scares me. Trayvon Diggs, the rookie, again, looked good, but all I hear is about his ball skills, and he dropped a sure interception. And he also got burned by Julio Jones, and Julio dropped it right in the end zone. Now, I'm not going to kill a rookie from getting beat by Julio Jones. It's just what Julio Jones does. But he usually also catches that ball.
He's on my fantasy team. It could have helped, to say the least.
He's on mine too, but luckily I'm still going to win without that. But 0 pressures basically from this D-line. Like I said, 1 sack. I'm adding Clown Smith to the Clown crew. Clown Lawrence and the Clown Clan. Clown Lawrence and Clown Smith. Jalen Smith, I love him. He's my guy from Notre Dame. They overpaid him way too fast. He can't change direction. People that only look at stats will be like, well, he had 12 tackles. He led the team. Yeah, he's tackling 14 yards down the field. Okay. He can't be in coverage. It's terrible. But the worst part of it all, I've been talking about it every week, and I'm going to continue to talk about it, was the safety position. Now they're rotating Darian Thompson because Darian Thompson sucks. They also used Darian Thompson on a fake punt yesterday. It was 4th and 7, and they decided to just snap it to him and have him run up the gut for 3.
Yeah, another thing is that you guys like special teams. Hilarious that it ended up the game was decided by like a phenomenal special teams play because it was one of the worst special teams games I've ever seen from a team. Multiple fakes that did not work. Continue, but just add it to the list of reasons how the Falcons let you off the hook.
How do you if it's 4th and 3, right? Keep your offense out there. Why are we having Chris Jones, a left-footed punter, throwing with his right arm to CJ Goodwin, who is a special teams ace, but can't be a starting cornerback because he can't catch the football, and you're throwing it to him?
I agree. In this day and age, just keep the offense on there and give it your best shot. If you want the 3 yards that bad, just
go get it.
Just go get it with hey, didn't you give Dak $32.5 million? Let him get you 3 yards.
He had 3 rushing touchdowns yesterday. But back to the safety position, Darian Thompson, Worley, and Brandon Carr, who's back, were rotating next to Xavier Woods, and there was just no juice. Worley dropped a sure interception that Earl Thomas takes back to the house 100 times out of 100. So I'm still on the Call Earl bandwagon. Yes, I'm following him on Instagram. Yes, I think he's insane. But again, there is no guaranteed in the contracts, and you can't tell me that he won't help this fucking defense if he's back there. They suck up the middle. They need him back there. But the only 2 bright spots yesterday on the defense were Tristan Hill, their 2nd-round pick last year, who looked like a complete bust, is out there busting his ass, making plays, and not wearing gloves. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. A D lineman, he has no gloves on, and it makes him look like an Oompa Loompa. I don't know. It's very weird. I guess it's just my eyesight, but
very old school.
But he's not an old school looking human. So if you can pull up a picture, Vince, of Tristan Hill without gloves on, it's his 3-point stance is terrible, but he was out there hustling. And Leighton Vander Esch's replacement, Joe Thomas, was out there just making plays, hustling his ass off and trying to prove that he deserves to be a starting linebacker for this team. But I mean, all in all, the defense was terrible. All in all, they shouldn't have won this game. And now, since you started with Eagles fans, I'm going to end with Cowboys fans. They're losing their goddamn mind because Mike McCarthy is being aggressive, going for it on 4th downs, going for 2 points. And all they did for 9.5 years was scream about Jason Garrett being conservative. So you can't have it both ways. We can't scream for 9 years. There he is. Look,
yeah.
And he's got sleeve. At least he has sleeves on in that picture.
But yeah, it's NFL fans are like that scene in Parks and Rec. I don't know if you watch the show, but Leslie, the main character, is like trying to be a politician who takes things in her own hands. So like one lady asked her to clean up the slugs in her front yard to make the area cleaner. Mm-hmm. And then like she comes out and she's like, well, I didn't want all the slugs gone. Like that's how NFL fans are. Well, I didn't want you to be that aggressive after like years of just watching conservative, just BS 8-8 play.
Deal with it. Do I want a little? It's he's going to keep going down swinging. Analytics, this, analytics that. I mean, that's. I don't know. I am elated. I am happy. They are 1-1, tied for the lead in this awful division, but they head to Seattle next week.
That is the worst part. That is the worst part. I will leave you with this. They were staring 0-3 in the face. They have to go to Seattle. Russ is doing an MVP campaign right now.
I think they were staring 0-4 in the face.
Who do they play week 4?
The Browns. They can lose to the Browns.
If you do, I can't wait for that podcast because I don't care if we're 0-4. I'm going after you if you lose to the Browns. We play the Browns too, though, right? Like maybe I shouldn't talk, but
they got some players, man.
They're better than last year, but I don't know if that translates. They're clearly the third best team in the division.
Oh, absolutely.
There's a wide gap. I'll leave you with this analogy for what we witnessed for the Cowboys and how they pulled that out of their ass and avoided 0-3. When I was in third grade, me and my friends were in the back of the class, like fooling around, and like we were picking each other up to see like if we were strong enough to do it. So our teacher caught us, and we were doing it. And my one friend picks me up, and there's like a bunch of us, and she goes like you, and you, and then my one friend is standing there. She doesn't point at him, and then he just walks away. The rest of us get demerits, and he just walks away. That's exactly what happened. You should have been 0-2 with us, with the Giants. As bad as the you should have been there getting detention points with us, and you just walked away. I don't know how you were able to do it. That's exactly what happened. It just reminded me of that scenario.
And now a win like this may catapult them into doing things that they don't deserve to do.
I'm done. I've got nothing left. I cannot believe. I still am mad about it. The Falcons, I was more mad at them than the Eagles because they really let you off the hook. To put up 39 points and just have as many turnovers go their way as they did and just let you off the hook.
Arthur 40 burger.
Stop coming down on the sideline. Every time you do, something catastrophic happens. Just like go away.
You know who used to do that? Jerry Jones. Every week he'd be on the sideline. Now he doesn't do it. Stop.
No offense, but there's nothing worse than watching that guy celebrate. Like I was looking at, I was like, these assholes. Yeah.
How does he not know how to clap?
Maybe there's he's getting old. There might be something wrong with him at this point with his muscles or his joints. I don't know, but he looks ridiculous. And I'm just like, you don't deserve this, Jerry Jones. You letting people in the stadium during a pandemic. Like none of you deserve this. You did not deserve that. You deserve detention points with us.
20,000 fans.
I'm deflated.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. I am elated. He is deflated. And we are birds versus boys. Like we said, next episode, we will be joined by John Marks. Make sure you check him out on Twitter. This will be dropping on Tuesday. That show will be dropping on Thursday. We will be talking week 3. We will stop looking back. We are on to week 3. Who do the Eagles play? The Bengals. That's right. And we play at Seattle. No fans. Thank God. All right. We will be back on Thursday. Check us out. As always, Birds vs. Boys Pod on Twitter. Branded_sports on Twitter. We are on Apple, Spotify, Google, YouTube, wherever you want. You can find us.
I'm sad.